It's funny actually, during during the Brentford game, my mum sits next to me, said several times, this is the perfect preparation for Porto, and it was. I think Brentford, what's his name, Frank, clearly watched what Porto had done. I was about to say Ruben Amorim, it's not, is it? It's Conceição had done, and tried to replicate it. The ball was in play for a spectacularly low amount of time. Weak referee allowed that. Huge amounts of Nathan Collins diving to the floor, lying there, rolling about, and somehow not getting treatment and getting straight back up. Interesting that Nathan Collins was the one crying the most about other people throwing themselves to the floor later on. But that's sort of standard. Break-up games, waste time, the standard small team shit. The specifics was to counteract Arsenal's massive overt superpower of the set-piece goal was go man-to-man, hold on to all the big guys, grapple, and if you're holding them as they run, try and get across them as much as possible. And when they run, try and run past the arm that you're holding them with, spin and hit the deck. And they did that a lot. At least once. I mean, I sometimes, often get my phone out to video set pieces, or the last second, to sort of try and get a goal. I got a good one actually of us scoring the winner. But I got lots of videos of set pieces, and when I've looked back at them, same thing happens every time. 3, 4, all over the penalty area, their players are hitting the deck. Sometimes they're pulling a shirt, being dragged, then they hit the deck, and then lie there all appealing. And at least one, the referee literally gives a free kick to someone. I think it's Norgard, who pulls Gabriel's shirt, gets dragged a bit, then hits the deck. I mean, it's amazing. Referees, anyone who has had to referee a bit, it is a tough job. Sometimes you guess, but you'd think at a Premier League and Champions League level they should be better than that. Porto are going to do the same thing. Porto are going to do what they did in the first game and what Brentford did. And like my mum said, we've had the perfect practice. Wenger came in late 90s, very cleverly built on the team the defensive setup we already had. George Graham's defence, added a brilliant midfield, George Graham's weak spot. And obviously had Bergkamp in thanks to the Dean Rioch axis that came before, and added Anelka and then Omri, Kanu, etc. 90s, we're learning our way effectively in Champions League football. But in the early 90s, the first decade of this century, getting through to the quarterfinals or better was pretty standard. I think more than half the time between, as I said, the first decade, we get there, or minimum this stage. But then the decade after, this stage is literally the cut-off point for a whole 10 years. And, you can make the excuse of the Messi, Iniesta, Xavi team. Yes, there was a Bayern super team, but we also managed to get knocked out by Monaco. God, I don't even want to go back over that. AC Milan, how did we not win that? Second leg, Van Persie's got to score. Anyway, Arteta needs to be, he's actually had a poor start in knockout games in Europe. He needs to be on an expedited curve, on exponential progress. We need to straight away be getting through to the business end of this season. Now, in that classic first decade of the century, quite often in the quarters and the semis, it was the English teams that knock us out. This time, I think we've got a serious chance, obviously, our next game could be a test run for a later Champions League game. So, I'll do a separate preview for Man City after this. Let's batter Porto. I'm a bit gutted. I was supposed to be going out to Mangalore Bassi for a pre-match meal, and Mrs. Highbury has put the kibosh on that bandit, and I'm going to a meeting at the kids' school. Whoopie-doo. But don't worry, I'll be there nice and early for the game. Come on, the Arsenal.